You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Risk. It's tons more content to cover, folks, so no point in hanging around. Now, in my quest to gather all badges of triumph ever, and indeed I've started buying PvP gear with it now. Seriously, I've got all of the PvE gear I need, so it's, hey, let's get more gear I don't deserve. Well, all I can say is if the system is there and you do not use it, then you are foolish. Simple as that. Now, ICC, there are 5-man dungeons, and they are rather wonderful. So much that I want to sing. There is a musical theme to at least one of these dungeons, so I feel it is rather appropriate. The Forge of Souls, folks. One of the 3 new 5-man dungeons based out of Icecrown. Best instance ever? Maybe. It's debatable, but let's have a look at it. So the Forge of Souls is part of this 3-dungeon chain that they've got going on in terms of these 5-mans. It's got 2 bosses in it, and it's got a reasonable amount of trash, and it is visually stunning. Looks absolutely fantastic. Really does. Absolutely amazing looking instance. Great stuff. And you go in there and you talk to Lady Sylvanas, and if you're playing the wrong faction, you talk to Jaina Proudmoore. And you get a quest and you go through there and there's 2 bosses to kill. It is completely and totally linear. Not going to dispute that. And the first boss goes by the name of Bronjam. Yes, Bronjam. Oh, wow. So Bronjam, of course, is an anagram for James Brown. And if you look at this guy's loot table on Wowhead, then you will see Popper's brand new bag and Papa's brand new knife. And all sorts of things like that. He is the godfather of souls. Just for that fight alone, Blizzard gets so much happiness and joy from my horrible, withered, cynical soul, you have no idea. It's nice not to take things too seriously every now and again. Bronjam's a good example of this. Now, if you turn the music up on Bronjam, you will hear a song called The Bronze Jam, which is what it's called. It's a funky guitar piece with a bit of synth in there while you're fighting this boss. Is it appropriate to the instance? No, it isn't. Is it appropriate to the boss? Well, technically, I suppose. But it's not the threatening vibe that you get from everything else. It's funky and awesome and fun. As is that boss. Now, it brings up the question as to whether or not you've got to be really serious in terms of the bosses and the environment that you're in order to evoke the sense of awe, the sense of wonder, and in some cases the suspense of an instance fight. I don't think you have to all the time. I think there is room for humour. We've seen it before. Look at Mimiron. Look at XT002. 2 relatively funny fights in a nasty dungeon in terms of the lore backing it up and the fact that you've got a god of death, sort of very Cthulhu-style god of death. That's serious stuff. The themes of madness and insanity overriding everything. But does that mean there's no room for humour? No. ICC, foreboding, dangerous. One of the most dangerous instances in the entire game in terms of 5-mans. Does that mean that we can't have fun in it? No. Now, the last boss in that goes by the name of the Devourer of Souls. And that, while it's certainly not a funny boss, or it kind of is, honestly, because the voice acting is so appallingly bad. You dare look upon the host of souls, I will devour you all! It's horrendous. It's like some awful Monty Python-esque thing. It's weird. We always laugh when he starts that. You remember the time when you laughed at XT002 when he first pulled him? New toys for me? Well, you get the same kind of effect with the host of souls! He seems terrified. That's the funny thing about it. He's like, please don't hurt me, I am the devourer of souls! Oh, dear. I did laugh so freaking hard. But it's a great fight in terms of mechanics. It's got Mirrored Soul, which can kill people, which is ideal because it allows us to kill Kirov, our combat rogue. Or Svetsluka, our shaman, who does a good job of dying anyway, but never mind. It's great. If you don't like someone and they've got mirrored soul, you can kill them! Probably not the best idea. Never mind. He's also got the ability to raise ghosts from the ground, and they'll chase you and do damage. On normal mode, they're not particularly threatening, but on heroic, they can do quite a bit. When he can also jump at people, he does this pounce kind of thing, which leaves a void zone on the floor, which he initially covers, so you gotta be very quick to get out of that. He's also got a Cthulhu-style I-beam, which is very dangerous, will kill you instantly. It's a really good fight, really well designed, lots of cool mechanics to learn, relatively challenging for a 5-man boss, at least the first few times that you do. Very good indeed. Now, the cool thing about this is that this is something that I think is a really nice innovation. Really, really nice innovation. The 3 instances are chained together in a way that we've never really seen before. As in, the portal to the next one is inside the first one. And the first time you go through, you have to run it, because that's the only way you get access. It's like an attunement, but way less annoying. Now, these 3 instances are tied together in terms of cinematics, scripted encounters, and lore. You are battling your way through to the final instance, which is the Halls of Reflection. And you are accompanied along the way by Sylvanas, fully voice-acted, or by Jaina if you're playing the wrong faction. And it gets progressively harder, and you feel like you are making your way towards a goal. And everything is tied together with a narrative, everything's tied together with a story. That is the best thing ever in terms of 5-man dungeons. Honestly. It is perfect. It is wonderful. I've never seen anything like it. Whoever came up with that idea deserves a medal, because as far as I'm concerned, ICC single-handedly gets me interested in 5-man heroic content again. Because the rest of it in Wrath was garbage, including that horrible circular arena 15-minute piece of crap. No, this is good stuff. I like the storytelling. I like the scripted events. Now, I reckon that they took a few pages out of the Book of Left 4 Dead here. Left 4 Dead, a Valve game, you should be familiar with it. They have events in there called crescendos, finales, very musical terms there. Various events that are basically gauntlet events and panic events, things like that. Now, the idea of those events in that game is to evoke a sense of urgency, a sense of fear, tension, that kind of thing. That's something that none of the Wrath dungeons up until now have had. Now, these dungeons use that mechanic very liberally in terms of the Pit of Sauron and the Halls of Reflection, the second and third instances that you'll go into in Icecrown. Now, there's a gauntlet event in Pit of Sauron, which involves you running through a cave. And when you are in this cave, there are Hodir-style cave-ins that are being caused by the Scourge Lord, whatever his face is, Scourge Lord Tyrannus, and his big, flappy drake thing, Grimefang. So he'll be collapsing this on, and you've got to move, because otherwise the chances are you will die. So it's a sense of urgency. And the best thing about it is there's really dramatic music going on in the background that kicks in as soon as you start it. So it's like, oh, better get going, better get going. It feels a bit like Left 4 Dead in that sense, and it works very well. But the best one, the absolute best, unequivocally fantastic section of all of these instances is the final section of Halls of Reflection. It's a chase scene. And in this chase scene, Arthas comes after you. And you and Sylvanas are literally running for your lives. Because Arthas is right freaking behind you. Do you fight Arthas? No, you can't fight Arthas in a 5-man. He'll kill you. And he will. He throws up blocks of ice to block your way, and you get a bunch of ads that come in, and you've got to kill them in order to give Sylvanas enough time to collapse the ice blocky thing so you can run up the next bit. And it gets progressively harder, and the tension is palpable, because they managed to make the Lich King scary. Really. He is intimidating as hell. He doesn't even care. He doesn't give a damn. He's just walking along, striding along, strolling along. He's like, you can imagine he's got his iPod under that Nezul helmet of his. Might be listening to a bit of smooth jazz. And he's just taking it slow. But he is intimidating. He's got this giant aura of frost and death swirling around him. He's got his frostmourne in his hand, and he's he's going, and you know for a fact that you can't stop him. He is coming for you. He is coming progressively closer and closer and closer, and you're panicking, and it's like, quick, got it, run, 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 run. It's like, oh, we're behind, quick. Oh, but the next wave's harder. Oh, God, oh, God. It's terrifying. In combination as well with some great music. Really dramatic, tension-building music. And you know what? That's not something that's really been done before in WoW. It's been done in a lot of other games. You can think of loads of games where the game has evoked fear, tension, suspense, all manner of different things. But WoW, not really. It's never really done that. It's evoked a sense of wonder a lot of the time, but tension, fear? No, not really. Well, this, I think, is the first time we genuinely felt some suspense and tension, and even a bit of fear there. Because, yeah, Arthas is intimidating. And that's how he's supposed to be. He's not some boss that you can farm for loot. And indeed you can't right now. He is taking an active role in trying to kill as many of you as possible, and you can't kill him back, because you know what? He's too powerful for your scrub ass. Deal with it. All you can do is run. That is one of the scariest things. You can't fight him. And that makes him all the more intimidating. It's great. That chase scene is... Will I go as far as to say probably the best thing I've ever seen in an instance ever? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, what's there to compare it to? I mean, we've got some great raid encounters, I suppose. That's fine. There's some amazing stuff. But in terms of 5-man content, there's been nothing like that. Nothing has been up to that standard. You know, there's some pretty cool moments in some of the Wrath 5-mans. Like, the first time you went to Utgard Keep, and where you saw the flames, you were like, whoa, that's awesome. It was okay, it was cool, it was nifty. The Nexus, when you first saw that was very beautiful. Some very cool things in there, too. A couple of 5-man bosses that were a lot of fun. But that Arthas chase is something else. It really is. The entire set of instances is something else entirely. They have remembered what it was that used to make the old 5-mans great. For one thing, they put quests in there. But this is not some namby-pamby collect 5 bear asses quest. This is a quest chain that threads through and ties together the entire set of instances in a cohesive, meaningful, and sensible narrative. It tells a story. And I don't think the Wrath instances have done a good job of that. Of telling a story at all. There are some in TBC and there are some in Vanilla that have told a story in some way or another. Like, say, the progression through Scarlet Monastery. There's a story to be had there. It's kind of vague, but there seems to be a story there. Deadmines. There's a bit of a story there, too. But nothing has come close to this. This is explicit story. It's like, here is the story. You can follow it. And here's the cutscenes. And all of this other stuff. The voice acting. Events that are leading up to this point, this culmination, in this final dynamic and dramatic escape from the Lich King. That, I felt awe. I will happily say that. I felt the sense of wonder there. It came back. Indeed, the sense of wonder came back in a lot of those areas in those instances. Both bosses in Forge of Souls, and indeed going into Forge of Souls for the first time. A lot of the events in Pit of Sauron. Uncompromising cutscenes of just violence, really. To the point where you see, oh god, what the hell just happened, you know? It's quite grim in places, but there's also quite a lot of good humour in it too. There's a great balance being struck there, and the use of mechanics is great. I will say, the one complaint I do have is the fact that the 2/3 of the Halls of Reflection are pretty boring, because they're waves. Ooh, waves. The bosses are kind of cool, but the waves are, they're just dull. They're challenging, don't get me wrong, and I'm happy to see some challenging 5-mans again, but at the end of the day, it's still just waves, and waves get irritating. Overall, though, so far, I'm liking the 5-mans better than I am the raid dungeon. I'm sure there's a lot of good content to come in ICC, but these 5-mans are just absolutely incredible. They really are. I'm still not bored of Forge of Souls. I've done it at least 20 times now. Just going in there and randoming it up, you know, got it about 5 times in one day when I was just randoming it. It's great fun. And the way that they've told the story, it's like the game has matured a little bit in terms of how it tells a story. It's not shoving a story down your throat. It's something that makes sense. You're taking part in what appears to be some kind of grand adventure. You're on an important mission. You feel like you're really a part of it. You're interacting with the major lore characters. And you know what it is? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's Wrathgate done right. That's what it is. The involvement of the major lore characters and the big cool stuff is done in the right way. Wrathgate did it wrong. This does it right. More of that, please. If all of the Cataclysm instances are like that, I will be in heaven. Such a great set. My name is Tall Biscuit. You are listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. I'll be back after the break with the illusion of choice. In the meantime, this is Evergrey with Broken Wings. Enjoy.